Speaking of people who are confident and sometimes confidently incorrect, Joseph Robinette Rogan. Folks, it's been a long time since I watched a Joe Rogan video on this broadcast. I feel like he's fallen off a little bit. Like, he's so hyper invested in COVID stuff. He rarely ever has like cool people on. He did have Stavros Baby on recently. And we're just going to hit the Joe Rogan thing raw. No cute girl in the studio, none of that. Just hitting it raw. Just you and me, baby. You on the other side of that screen, whether you're on a laptop, on your phone as you're delivering Amazon packages across the neighborhood, and just me. We're watching this. Joe Rogan apparently had a little flub and was fact-checked again in real time by Mr. Jamie.
Well, you know, there's people that voted for Biden that are doing it now. They're like, what did I do?
Right.
Like, what did I choose? Like, how is this guy?
Yeah, you just can't listen to an interview or he's saying some of the...
Bro, this dude has literally a video game character from 2007 haircut. I don't know if it's the low pixelation. I don't know what's going on. This is unironically Max Payne 1. My dude's got the Max Payne 1 haircut. What the... How does it stay like that? I feel like his hair is more powerful than the headphones. Like, you know how people go, haha, you have a head dent, right? Like, oh, you took your headset off and you're like, oh, your hair and you're in the top of your dome, it's got a dent. It's like, no, this dude literally breaks the headset with his hair. I don't know how he did it, but congratulations.
Says it just makes no sense at all. It's like you can't listen to those interviews and feel like you made a good decision. I don't know how you could.
Did you hear what he said like yesterday or a couple days ago? He was talking about the Revolutionary War. He's like, one of the reasons why we lost the Revolutionary War, one of the problems with the Revolutionary War was they didn't have enough airports.
This is an interesting start to the conversation because there are a tremendous number of Biden flubs and gaffes and goofs that you could point to because my man is a gaffe machine. My man was a gaffe machine even when he was all there, right? Great retail politician across the board. There's never been a moment in Joe Brandon's career where he hasn't like said some silly. And also a serial liar and plagiarizer. That's kind of his thing. That's always been his shtick. If you track Joe Biden's career, you would recognize that he's always popped off with like plagiarism and also embellishing his past in a way that is not dissimilar to George Santos in many ways. But recently, of course, he has, you know, he doesn't have the mental acuity that he used to have. He doesn't have the mental fortitude. He's not all there, right? In the way that you, as long as, you know, when you get older, in the way that you see your grandparents kind of start to not have the same light behind the eyes. So there's plenty of moments that you can point to with respect to Mr. Robinette. Joseph Robinette Rogan posted something weird. So let's take a look at what happens here.
Have you seen that?
I saw that. It's like, what the hell?
Like, pull him.
It's crazy.
If you had any other job and you were talking like that, they would go, hey, you're done.
A few moments later.
The same stable genius that said the biggest problem we had in the Revolutionary War is we didn't have enough airports. Whoa.
Yeah, that's it.
Whoa.
Right. What?
Just for the record.
Is that fake?
It's not fake, but he was referencing Trump saying that. Here's what Trump saying it in 2019.
Oh.
Donald Trump said something about that, and he didn't say G.
Okay, so here's one thing that I find to be a massive mistake for the Biden campaign, talking about Trump's mental fortitude. Now, I know there's a lot of Democratic Party writers in the chat who will unconditionally support the Democratic Party no matter what, and they will say things like, Joe Biden is actually all there. This is a moment where Joe Rogan f***ed up. But I have a different perspective on this, but I do love Joe Rogan f***ing up like this and having Jamie live fact check.
Jesus, he said a stable genius, and that's where the transcription...
Let me hear what it says. What did he say?
In June of 1775, the Continental Congress created a unified army out of the revolutionary forces encamped around Boston and New York, and named after the great George Washington, Commander-in-Chief. The Continental Army suffered a bitter winter of Valley Forge, found glory across the waters of the Delaware, and seized victory from Cornwallis of Yorktown. Our army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What? Yo! Oh, the Revolutionary Army.
So he
Yeah, he did. But I feel like
Took over
that's
the airport.
you can tell too. It sounds like a little different. He's like, you could tell he like messed up his words, but yeah. He's just,
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, never mind. Okay, got it.
I don't know.
Took over the airport.
Well, that's
Oh, come on, guys. Come on. Come on. Come on. You can say Trump says some dumb too. What the That's crazy.
That's the thing about media these days. It's like
right.
Oh, yeah. It's a much larger problem with media. Bitch, where are you at? You're at the Joe Rogan Experience. You are literally the media doing the wrong thing. What I was going to say about this piece, there's a couple different things. First of all, you know what my perspective is, right? What do I always say? I say Donald Trump, delusional, but he's not demented, right? Whereas Joe Biden, on the other hand, comes across like he doesn't have the mental fortitude that he once had, but at least like the team holding it together demonstrates a level of stability. Now, that stability is still bad overall, like what you've seen during this saga of the Israeli ethnic cleansing. That doesn't mean it's good policy, but it is actually stable. And it's not Brandon himself doing this stability, it's the people around him. So that's something to consider. Trump has always done stuff like this. He gets wrong all the time. Trump and Joe Biden side by side, toe to toe in a month jail cell where they're going for 30 minutes without any scripting, without any prompters. Trump is absolutely going to look like he is cognitively better than Joe Biden. What's really sad is that those are the two options in the United States of America in front of us. 800-year-old Joe Biden, who definitely is showing his age. And then you have like 799-year-old Donald Trump, who will be older than Joe Biden was when he ran for president this time around, with seemingly better mental acuity, however, is a delusional, despotic psychopath who keeps getting worse and worse with his rhetoric this time around. The real argument is not 99% Hitler versus 100% Hitler. It's 99% demented versus 100% demented. Or both. Why not both? If you look at the stats, one is like 100% demented, one is 99% demented. If you look at the other stats, one is 100% Hitler, the other is 99% Hitler. It's great. Great stuff overall. Wonderful that this is like the number one country. You know, we're the wealthiest nation on earth. We are the dominating force. We are the hegemonic superpower keeping this entire thing going. Certainly doesn't spell doom and gloom for the rest of the world and for ourselves. Joe Biden is too old to be an effective president. Yeah, this is the classic conundrum. At age 78, when he took office in 2021, Joe Biden was too old to be an effective president. Donald Trump will make an excellent president when he takes office at age 78 in 2025. I mean, I just mentioned that, right? It's a race to the bottom in the worst ways possible. Donald Trump will be the same age, I think older, as a matter of fact, than Joe Biden was by a little bit when he ran and became the president. As far as the Joe Rogan thing goes, yeah, he got owned, right? He got owned, and that's great. That's fun to watch. And it's a really revealing moment. You look at the situation, he recognizes what's going on, and then he still is like kind of trying to defend the principles, right? For me, it doesn't make sense on numerous issues. If I'm Joe Biden or if I'm on Joe Biden's team, I'm probably not trying to talk about mental acuity at all across the board. I'm certainly not trying to lap Trump on that because politics are very simple in many instances. In the way that people recognize you, there's a lot of feelings involved. There's a lot of just like not really thinking about things clearly and logically. It's mostly team sports. You either vote for Democrat because you're a Democrat, you feel Democrat, or you vote for Republican because your parents did and you feel a Republican, yada, yada, yada. And then beyond it, there's a lot of vibes at play. And when you look at the vibes of the situation and you analyze like the vibes that Biden is putting out there and the things that Biden is saying and the way that he performs, especially when he is unscripted for a very long period of time, when he has to sit there and respond to questions, when he's like off the cuff, it looks very sad. It's very rough. And that is part of the reason why 75% of the Democratic Party did not want him to run again. I don't know if those numbers have changed recently. I'm sure that like inevitably a lot of Democrats are going to fall in line, but that still leaves a lot of people who would have voted for the Democratic Party who just don't feel enthusiastic enough to vote for the Democratic Party. And that's a big flub. That's a big mistake, and one that we should be very familiar with the Democratic Party at this point. It's kind of their modus operandi. We did this with Hillary Clinton, and pushing for Hillary Clinton as the candidate for the Democratic Party was a major mistake. Being incredibly confident about her chances destroying Donald Trump was a major mistake. Many voters will be motivated to vote against Trump. Nikki Haley would easily beat Biden, though. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. I mean, Nikki Haley would, in my opinion, have a pretty solid shot here. But Nikki Haley can't get out of the Republican Party's primaries. This is something I've brought up a bunch. The Republican Party's incredibly aggressive, incredibly reactionary far-right base of support is the base that votes in the primaries. But that base, and if you feed into that base, is going to make you nasty and icky and not exactly likable to a broader audience. The general voter population is going to look at that and go, ugh, that's too much instability for me. I remember the Trump administration. I remember the Trump years. I don't like that. I don't want to be a part of that. The other thing I wanted to mention about Joe Brandon versus Donald Trump is that I would stay away from talking about mental acuity and cognitive functionality if I was on the Brandon camp. I would simply try to show, that Brandon still got it, pump him full of drugs, whatever, and try to make it seem like Joe Brandon is actually still kicking, all right? But that is a major problem for Joe. That's a major, major problem for Joe, that he looks real bad on camera. And it's not just like TikToks showing that he's slipping, okay? Going back to the Joseph Robinette Rogan moment, yeah, Joe, they're pissing off the voters to get votes for people who can't vote. Here.
12:55. Yeah. Did you see that video? There's a video that was going around today of people in Chicago that are furious that the government is giving so much money to all of these immigrants that have illegally migrated into Chicago.
No, I didn't see that.
They're giving them cell phone and $1,200 whatever it is, and these people are fucking freaking out. Yeah. And these people that were Democrats are like, hey, if Trump wants to talk to us, come talk to us. Like we're tired of this shit. And I'm like, wow, this is wild to see. These people are waking up. Like, why are you giving people that aren't even from here all this money and a free phone and all this? And you're not giving anything to us?
That is. It's like. I think those people deserve, but that's like we're seeing that's like, why aren't regular people getting that same shit? Why doesn't everybody just get that? Why is that person getting special treatment where it's like, we're just, that's the safety net.
They shouldn't get it either. What they're doing is they're trying to buy votes. That's what I think they're doing. They're trying to get rid of voter ID, and they're trying to bring people in or allow people to get in and make it easy for them to travel all around the country. And if someone let you in the country, wouldn't you vote for them?
But they can't vote, can they?
Well, what if they can?
What do you mean, what if they can? But they can't. It's so stupid. You said they buy votes from a group of individuals who literally cannot vote. God, Republican commentary is so idiotic, man. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. Joe Rogan isn't a Republican. Learn your facts. Joe Rogan isn't a Republican law. That's the funniest part about this argument, is that Joe Rogan has openly said that Ron DeSantis is very good, okay? And much better as a politician than anyone else. I don't know what the deep shame people feel about who they want to vote for and what they believe in. I openly say I vote for the Democratic Party. Okay, I'm not a Democrat. I don't like the Democratic Party. I regularly criticize the Democratic Party. But having said that, I vote for the Democratic Party. Okay, that's it. It's the lesser evil voting. That's what gets me every time. Having said that, I'll still use my voice and my community to try to get the Democratic Party to do things that are objectively good.
Not having voter ID. But you have what do you think that they were talking about it in New York? They were going to try to make it so that if you weren't a citizen, you could still vote in New York.
Interesting.
That was something that was discussed, right?
I don't know, because my dad
Google
can't
that thing
vote.
about New York.
I think it was discussed, but I don't know that's
attempts to have.
Anyway, the most important thing to understand is if the Chicago residents also got that, Rogan would also hate it and consider buying of votes. It's funny, I think Stavros is about as good as anyone I've seen disagree with Rogan using the tone of agreement. Rogan was on his pandemic made workers lazy again.
Nature, man.
And I think I prefer what you're saying is let's cover our bases, which we don't do right now.
Right.
And I think the thing that I think just as likely for if you give somebody free money, they're not going to do, we're trapped in this opposite thing where it's people have to work hard to barely make it. Yeah. Where it's that zapping all that human potential too, because those people are just surviving they don't have time to, because they just have to make rent. Everything is more expensive. Right. You don't have any time to. And I agree with you that kind of the middle ground is get their basic needs met and then let them be able to work, but not have to work, 60 hours a week or whatever, or work 40 hours, but it's grueling for less pay. Because you do need that time. You need that space to, I think
if
you're
you want to get
correct.
ahead and you want to figure your own path in life, you got to have some time.
Yeah.
It's going to either cut into your sleep or it's going to cut into your social life. It's going to cut but you're going to need some time.
Totally.
And that's the one benefit for a motivated person for universal basic income.
Right.
But my feeling was when I watched everybody during the pandemic when they were all getting unemployment. How many people didn't want to go back to work? They just wanted that free money. I was like, ooh, this is wild.
I mean, but some of that also is that they were like, because my friends were like, what the, this is like like I'm making less money working hard as on what unemployment pays. Like this is what the government thinks you barely need to subsist. And when I go back to work, I make less than this and I work hard as I mean, it's also a problem of like, I think people also saw in that moment how mistreated they were being and how underpaid they were being a lot of the time, where it's like this low pay, which it wasn't that much money, right?
Well, they started ramping up pay at a lot of places after the pandemic.
Yeah.
They ramped up pay everywhere. Like they advertise like high pay, like places like McDonald's.
Yeah.
Like what does McDonald's pay now? I think it pays like $18 an hour.
One of the funniest parts about this conversation that people always bring up for some reason is like, and liberals do this on Twitter a lot, is that, oh, well, a lot of leftists claim that like higher wages would bring inflation, right? And yet they seemingly hate it now that inflation is upon us. And it's like, first of all, brother, what are you talking about? Like the inflation predated the higher wages, dumbass. What the are you talking about? And Joe Rogan is an absolute moron for perpetuating this stupid take too. I guess, you know, this should make the Twitter liberals who love capitalism and love dunking on the left or whatever really reconsider their position when like Joe Rogan is saying the same exact that they're saying. Great, good stuff. If this was true Machiavellian stuff and not just Chicago Dems wanting some place for migrants besides O'Hare in the streets, maybe the GOP could use some info to win elections by housing some migrants in their communities.
Exactly, dude.
They actually practice when no one's around.
A fine artist, like I respect them more than comedy. And I love that though. I think it should be the low. I like that we're the lowest form of show business.
Yeah, it's good.
We're we are dumb as we have like a type, some of us have a type of intelligence, or like I think what I like is like emotional intelligence. I can pick up on people, but I'm not reading books anymore.
Most of my mind, I think my brain is essentially like a tachometer. Like, I can redline that bitch.
Yeah.
Like, if I have scientists and I have to have discussions with them, or if there's something serious that I have to debate about with someone, I can redline it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm cruising on the highway at a steady 2,500 RPMs.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a golf cart. I'm just going like, hey, guys, how we doing? Let me tell you about what time my dick didn't get hard.
He means he regurgitates Facebook memes that he has in his meme folder, by the way. Everybody wants to feel smart. It's a perfectly understandable thing, okay? People want to feel smart. People want to feel like they're in on something that other people are not in on. And this creates this like weird cycle. I mean, plenty of you guys do the same thing. I do it as well. But plenty of you guys are doing it literally right now. Like you listen to what I have to say. And then instead of doing your own reading further, instead of investigating it on your own, which I do always recommend, you oftentimes just like regurgitate what I've said. And maybe you didn't even fully understand what I had said. And then someone will like come in and own you or whatever with their talking points. And then obviously like it doesn't feel good. But that is, you know, you got to do more investigating beyond what I'm saying. Anyway, my point was a lot of people want to seem smart, and it's kind of the easy route to just like look at memes that describe something to you. It's a super easy way for you to feel like you fast-tracked intelligence because it takes a long time to like deeply research and investigate something. Anyway, my point is that's why Joe Rogan thinks like, oh, I'm redlining information by just like reading a meme that corresponds to my biases, and it makes me feel good when this meme is agreeing with me. I love doing crimes. Doing crimes is my favorite thing. Sure hope there's no Spider-Man around to stop me from doing the crimes that I like doing. Can we skip the main quest and just get it on with Harry? No, chatter. Oh my god! I love bouncing him off my homies. It's my favorite thing to do. Just give me a fucking kiss, dude. Come on, just kiss me, you fool. I've already forgotten about MJ.